This conference will now be recorded.
Well, thank you all for joining me here in the middle of October 2020. For anyone that's listening to this recording later in time, I think it's fair to say we're still here in the thick of the coronavirus pandemic. But luckily, over video chat, we don't have to wear our masks, and everybody's safe and sound, whether they're at home or in the office or however they're doing it. Um, for those of you that are new and have not joined us before, and I think we have a little bit of a good mix, like we always do, people that have come here before, people that are new, and also people that have come before but haven't been able to join us for a couple of weeks but are now rejoining us. Basically, there's about roughly three parts to this meeting. The first part is I'll unmute everybody one by one so you can take a minute or two and introduce yourself to the rest of the group, what you do, where you are geographically, maybe what a good referral for you would be so the rest of the group can keep an eye out for anybody that might be a good fit with what you're looking for. Then the second part is usually those introductions trigger questions from other people in the group. So we'll have a session of asking questions based on the introductions. And again, feel free to set up meetings outside of this to do maybe some one-on-ones with somebody that you can do business with and that might be interesting for you. And the third part is then we'll just open it up for a free conversation. We can talk about anything you want. We can talk about the coronavirus. We can talk about the elections. If you keep it civil, we can talk about the economy. Pretty much at that point, anything is fair game. I would like to end the meeting somewhere between 45 to 50 minutes after the hour to give us time to take a break, grab some water before we go on to our next virtual meeting. I'm sure, again, a lot of people are stacking these things up back to back to back. But without further ado, and I just go down in my little list, but luckily the first person on my list is someone that has a lot of experience in these meetings. Alejandra, if you could please introduce yourself to everybody and same thing, where you at, what a good referral would be, all that kind of good stuff.
Awesome. How did I know I was going to be the first one? First and foremost, I always like to give it back to Sal. And since I am the first and Yana is not here today, don't forget about yourself at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. But I'm telling you, first and nothing, I want to tell you, I believe in this networking group so much and the relationships we're building. I just got my life insurance. I did it with Yana, who is always coming here. So it works, and it's about giving and receiving, and Sal creates that incredible space for all of us. So thank you, Sal, so much for that. My name is Alejandra. I am currently in Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure that matters anymore. I am looking for a house to move to Texas. I'm so excited to get out of this cold weather. So it really doesn't matter, I think, with this virtual new life that we have. But what I do is I represent a company called ACN. I'm a business owner within ACN. I'm a regional vice president in ACN. It's a multi-level marketing company, a little different than the rest because we do services. So we do essential services for both residential and commercial. Been doing that for about 8 years of my life. It retired me from corporate. Thank you, God. What I do is I help people save money on bills that are paying every single day, whether that is a business owner that today needs to cut costs or a residential person that would like to cut costs. But my favorite part about my business is that it allows me to help other people do the same thing that I do. And all over the world, I have teams in 7 different countries, and I really enjoy doing it. And a good referral for me, outside of the obvious, somebody looking for a second stream of income on a little bit, on something that's a little bit less traditional than the normal multi-level. But I think, to be more precise, I believe that you're going to be a better source of referrals for me if I'm a little bit more precise. So I'm working heavily in the real estate world. So anybody that you know that is either an agent or broker or just mortgage person, whether that is commercial, residential, maybe a real estate investor, inspection, title, it doesn't matter so long they're in the real estate world, because any single time a new tenant or a new homeowner onboards into a house, they have to set up all their services. So it's an ancillary service for them that allows them to generate residual income alongside of what they do. So that is a perfect referral for me. And with that, I'll give it back to Mr. Sala Costa. Again, Alejandra Kalman with ACN. I'll be putting my information on the chat.
Very good. And that reminds me, by the way, and I'm glad Alejandra always goes first because she's such a veteran and keeps me on track here. Please put in the chat box whatever you want to share, but contact information, cell phones, emails, LinkedIn profiles, websites, whatever. Because at the end of the meeting, I will send everybody a link to the recording. I will also send whatever you put in the chat box so that, again, if people want to have meetings outside of this or whatever, they know how to get a hold of you. Okay, we have another person that has been with us for many, many sessions. Barbara, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you, Sal. Thanks for hosting the meetings. I appreciate that. I am Barbara Klein, the Love Coach. I'm the owner of the Best You Dating and Life Coaching. And I love helping singles who are feeling frustrated and lonely by helping them discover their own self-worth so they can fall in love with someone they are aligned with. And a good referral for me would be somebody who is matrimonially unattached, who is single, widowed, divorced, and struggling in the online dating world or fearful of the online dating world. And I help them get through those experiences in a more positive way. Thank you again. I'm Barbara Klein, the Love Coach. I'm
sorry, Barbara, I cut you off.
That's okay, sorry. And I'm in Pittsburgh, but I do work virtually everywhere. Thank you.
Okay. And by the way, we have somebody that is joining us voice only, but is a good friend of mine that had come to a lot of these meetings. We've done a lot of networking events in person up in Pittsburgh. But Jennifer, you're up. If you could please introduce yourself to the rest of the group.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Lough. I've done a lot of consulting. So my area is mainly consulting, usually to business startups or businesses trying to get to the next level. Mainly non-governmental organizations. Right now I'm working with content development for an educational company, for broadcasting, and I'm working with a nonprofit that wants to do hemp initiatives, and I'm also serving as an agent for a writer. So I do a little bit of everything. A good referral for me is that person that's just in a different spot. I have 6 degrees and I've worked in a variety of different industries at the executive level. So I like to talk to people and see if I can help them, and I'm very honest, and if I can't help them, I tell them. And thanks for hosting, Sal.
Oh, you're very welcome for joining us. And don't forget to put your contact information in the chat. Phillip, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Be happy to. First of all, Sal, thanks for setting this up for all of us. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. My name is Phillip Durchslag. So I'm a consultant. I have a special tool that I license through Culture Index as an executive advisor for them. I'm in the world of behavioral analytics, human analytics. So what we're able to do is go into organizations through a 7 to 10 minute survey, identify certain traits of people that are hardwired into them by the time they're 12 to 15 years of age, and then also identify how those innate traits are being modified for them to do their jobs at work. and I'm able to get a profile of their personality. Really, at the end of the day, my job as an advisor to both large and small companies, companies that maybe have 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, all the way up to hundreds or thousands, is to make sure that your most important leading indicator of your business, which is your people, that they are in the right roles with the right traits to do the kind of work that you're asking them to do. And my service really does identify that. We help companies scale, we help companies grow. We also have a service where if they are recruiting, as a part of the application process, I can have a candidate take our survey, and I can match that individual's traits to the job that the company is asking them to do, to make sure that, again, we've got the right people with the right traits in the right roles so that they can be successful and really significantly decrease the cost of turnover. All of us have probably hired people in our careers, and at the end of the day, we tend to use our intuition, our gut, how people interview. I'm able to get rid of sort of that and bring real hard data, scientific evidence to who are the people you have in the business, how are they wired, and are they doing the right kind of work for you with the traits that they have. We find that executives are not always aligned. We find that sometimes in companies there's a lot of discomfort, maybe a little bit of disharmony at the executive level. Really, anybody that is managing, leading, directing, motivating, rewarding human capital, they can benefit from this tool on how they communicate to others. My perfect referral is really any business of any size that is struggling with their probably most expensive resource, which is their human capital, and going in there and really assessing and advising potential changes that should be made and other directions that should be taken care of. So I'll turn that back over to Sal. Thank you again, everybody, for potential referrals and any questions that you've got, and I've got my information in the chat box.
Excellent. Thank you, Phillip. And we keep working our way down the list. And Rhoda, I know you've been here before. If you could please introduce yourself and again, where you're at and what a good referral for you would be.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rhoda Israelov. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana. My company is Say It For You, which is what we do. So we are content writers, ghost writers primarily, of website content and blogs. And we like to write for professionals and for retailers. And my own specialty that I like a lot is writing for attorneys. And so right now I'm interested in finding a family law firm, meaning divorce, adoption, have some experience doing that and do not have a client in that field. So one unique thing about my company is that we take only one client per type, so that we're giving you an exclusive in your marketplace, even if that's worldwide. So again, the fact that I'm asking for a family law firm means that I'm not now doing work for one. We also give the clients the copyright to the material we write so that they can then use it on an ongoing basis. So I'm in Indianapolis. The company is 13 years old and all of the writers are here, but the clients are in 2 different countries and about 7 different states. So we say it for you.
All right, perfect. And Stephanie, if you could please introduce yourself to the group and same thing, where you're at geographically and what a good referral would be.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Rukin from Chicago, Illinois. On April 2nd, I completed my bachelor's degree in business management at National Louis University. Prior to entering National Louis, I was an administrative assistant at the Cancer Wellness Center of Northbrook, Illinois. I was sitting at my desk receiving calls, answering questions about programs being offered at the center, as well as organizing events. I knew one day I wanted to play an even larger role, but I knew that I had to go back to school, and to fulfill that, uh, I knew I wanted helping organizations succeed in their fulfillment of their mission. For me, that meant to pursue the world of human resources, because it meant for me to focus on the important aspects of a company, its employees, whether there was potential for me to fill a position, conduct training sessions, employee relations, payroll, and benefits. I am seeking a position where I can utilize my outstanding communication skills, time management, administrative, interpersonal, and leadership skills. I'm organized, self-disciplined, dedicated team member who collaborates well with others. I'm looking forward to learning more about the world of human resources management. I've always been curious to learn more about the world of business and how it brings cultures together, and would love the opportunity to bring my skills to life.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's see. Tom, if you could please introduce yourself to the group, and same thing, where you're at geographically and what a good referral would be for you.
Is that me, Sal?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead, Tom.
I didn't hear the name. I'm sorry. Well, hey, everybody. I see a few familiar faces. And Sal, thanks again for staging this get-together. My name is Tom McManaman. I own and run a brand marketing and positioning strategy company. It's about 20 years old. I launched the agency literally after 9/11. I used to work in the trade tower a few days a week, and I was a principal in a large ad agency that folded after that event. So I became an entrepreneur. It was almost 20 years ago. I spent 40 years in advertising and brand marketing as an art director, a writer, an agency creative director, and I still do that thing today. We have clients all around the country. Some are multinational firms, and others, as you might expect, are local, small startups, and everything in between. We also help a lot of non-for-profits. I'm also a author of 2 books. I public speak and give keynotes, and I'm a musician. So I kind of like to have a lot of fun and keep inspiration coming in from every angle. Some of the things that we're doing right now, we are actually starting tomorrow morning going on a 7-state trip to produce some videos and TV for a very large insurance company. They're our very best client we've had for about 8 years, and it's a big assignment, and it came at the perfect time. We're also about to do a complete rebrand for an education company, and we're at the late stages of a corporate rebrand of a medical center, which launches its new brand December 1st. So we have a lot of things in the fire, excited about what we're doing. A good referral for me, we're always having an audience with the C-suite, the decision makers, the key influencers in where they take their business. And right now, as we begin to swing out of the pandemic, we hope, for the first time in about 7 or 8 months, corporate leaders are beginning to wake up and say, okay, we've had enough of this. We can't wait any longer. We need to figure out, where are we going? What are we doing with our marketing? Who's our customer? Where are they? How do we find them? So what we have found is we've had a few companies approach us in the last month who asked if they could work with us in just a consulting role, because they don't quite yet know, do we need a new website? Do we need new branding? Do we need new sales materials? What do we do with our social media? They're not even sure. They need direction. So I love to speak with the CEOs, the COOs, the CMOs, key communications managers, and just talk with them about the possibilities, and have you ever considered, and let's think about going in this direction. Everybody's had to pivot. So what does that mean? So those are great leads for me. They're sort of wondering where to turn. So it's Tom McManaman. The company is Stimulus Brand. Our website is stimulusbrand.com, and all my information is in the chat room as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. And usually the last person on our list is from New York City, is Yona Khan, but He's not here today, but Alejandra is so nice, and this is the nice thing about having people that have been to multiple of these meetings. They kind of get the idea, and they know that I always forget to introduce myself, so I won't do it this time. And then I'll open it up for everybody that has any questions based on the introductions. But real quick, Sal Acosta, I'm here in St. Clairsville, Ohio, which is about an hour southwest of Pittsburgh. I'm a business broker. I help people buy and sell businesses. Since businesses come in all shapes and sizes, usually I deal with businesses that are 10 to 250 employees. Usually 0 to 10 or $20 million maximum in revenue. And now with the coronavirus, we all know that small businesses are struggling, but hopefully still break even, positive cash flow to about $1 million or $2 million. Ideal referral and a typical client is somebody that started their business 10, 20, 30 years ago, maybe from scratch, has grown it for 10, 20, 30 years, is now ready to retire and go play golf in Florida or hang out with the grandkids, take the RV cross country, do all the fun things that retired people do. And I love working those cases because I know I'm doing something good for them. But before they can retire in style, let's face it, Social Security only gets you that far. You need to sell the business, cash out so you can retire in style. And that's where I can come in and try to help. Now that everybody's getting used to video chats and Zoom and things like that, there really is no reason why I cannot help people all across the country, and especially people in smaller cities that may not have a developed network of business brokers like the bigger cities do. So that's it, Sal Acosta. And I will unmute. Everybody's unmuted from my side now. Does anybody have questions for anybody else based on the introduction?
Phillip,
Yes.
tell me what the name of the system is that you use.
The name of the system that I license is through Culture Index.
Okay.
They've been in business since 2004. Prior to that, it took them about 5 years to develop this tool. And I licensed this tool from them, but operate as an independent consultant.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I think is unique about the tool is most of the assessments that we probably have all taken in our career, they are what we call a forced choice. So what happens is you're given a concept, and then it says, do you agree with this all the time, some of the time, none of the time? And then what happens is your brain goes, I wonder what the people on the other side want to hear. So it honestly doesn't get to the reality of who you are, just more of who you want to be. We don't have a forced choice. We put 174 adjectives up on a screen. We ask you to choose the adjectives that correspond to you as an individual, sort of section 1. And then section 2 is choose the adjectives that make you successful at work. Based on that input, I'm able to tell how you're hardwired, again, from the ages of 12 to 15, and then how you're modifying that hardwiring at work. So what I love about it is you can't fake it out. You can't think it through. You can't try to give an impression that is not real. And when I provide the survey reveals back to clients or back to individuals, I get about 99 to 98% right on target.
I love it. I actually have an experience that is being brought to my memory, of course, from 1999, but that I did something similar to that. So I was finishing my MBA, and you can tell me if this has anything to do with it or not. And there was like, career day at that moment. I don't know if that continues. I'm an old,
Yeah.
So anyway, so it was career day, and I'm foreign. So in order for me to remain in the United States as a student, I had the ability to do it for, at that moment, 18 months, unlike what it called a practical training or academical training, however you want to call it, right? So I needed to find a job, and it didn't matter what it was. I applied to everything, everything that you can imagine I applied for. And one of those jobs was in corporate at what once was, and I don't think they even exist anymore, Payless Shoes. And it was not like a retail job per se, it was a corporate. So I applied for it, and they did exactly that. They put, it was a question, and then they would put like a lot of adjectives in it, and another question and a lot of adjectives. So it was like that. You could not figure out what they were trying. I'm like, what are they trying to do with this? And the gentleman that, was a recruiter, came back with me to the results and said to me something that always stuck with me. He said, "You're brilliant, but not for a Payless job, a Payless Shoes type of corporate. You need to work where there are services. You cannot work where there's retailing."
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, I did not want to hear that because I wanted the job. But, I actually, went to find a job at Walgreens just to stay. And then I really found the job that, I went on services because, that's what he told me to do. Then I went on into my banking career, which lasted all like 23 years because I had some experience in Uruguay, but all like here in the United States, 17 years. And I went on from nothing all the way to VP at American Express. And I think I did it because my mind worked service-based. And then when I found my niche on owning my business, what am I doing? Services. And I can't imagine, now that I know myself a lot more than I did 20 years ago, or 20 plus years ago, I can tell you that I don't know if I could sell something that is tangible, that I'm fully service-based. So it does work. And sometimes it's probably not what the other person on the other side wants to hear, but it works very well. And it always stuck with me. But I had kind of like forgot that, and you brought this up right now, and it just triggered that. And it's probably something very similar, though not the same, considering this is back in 1999 when I finished my MBA.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is pretty flawless. It's hard to not get the real temperature of who you are and how you're hardwired. Like I said, we use it in businesses. Some of our clients actually use it to identify who is going to be a good client for them. So I have a financial planner that sends out this survey to their potential clients, and they have the client fill it out. The premise is, look, if you're going to work with us, we really want to know how to best communicate with you. So they're on board, and they send it to their potential clients. And then when they get on the phone with them, they know how they need to communicate. Some people are going to want a lot of data. Some people don't care about any data. They just want to hear the visionary direction of their health or their financial well-being. Some people just want social time. So that's how you get your business, by being social with them.
And you know what, Phillip, you brought to my memory a completely sort of opposite situation. I was working for this group that was going to be hired as a consultant by this company, and the company wanted that same thing. They wanted to know how to communicate with us as consultants, which is fine. But then what they did was, and this goes back years, but I think what they sent out was the Myers Briggs, which is fine.
Yep.
The problem is the principal at the group that I was part of, I think quite honestly was a little insecure or wanted to game the system or whatever. But what he did, he was supposed to take the test because he was the principal, but he had me and another person within the organization literally with him on a screen sharing, and we would go through the questions. And so he would read the question, and then we would discuss what we thought was the best answer for this company to get them to hire us as a consultant. And I'm sitting here like, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to be to our advantage or a disadvantage. All I know is this is not the way this thing is supposed to work. And I don't know, but long story short, we did end up getting hired. So I don't know if it was in spite of that or because of that, but it was just like a weird experience.
Hey,
Yeah.
Phillip, have you ever heard of a company called Caliper?
Yes, I have.
They're out here in Princeton, New Jersey.
Yeah.
They're used often for those sort of high-level evaluations of people that are, applying to positions to help companies, sort of zero in on the kind of character that they're interviewing. A friend of mine was interviewing for business development and membership, leader of membership program, and they were going to have her go through their system, the Caliper system of evaluation. And she said, I'm not a salesperson, though. I'm not in sales. I'm not a salesperson. I said, you are more made for sales than you can possibly think. You are all about golden relationships. You're all about building relationships, which is a whole different way of approaching sales and building, trust. And she took the exam, and they gave the output of what they took away from her, and she got the job. And what they've done is it's a chamber. It's a local Princeton Mercer chamber in central New Jersey. And 7 years ago, she got the job, and they've grown by an average of 20 new employees per month, every year. And
Yeah.
I say, you're not in sales, so think of what you could do if you really were in sales.
Yeah, it's a lot of our clients have a roughly a 20% increase in their top or bottom line by just sometimes shifting people around and sometimes hiring better quality traits for the kind of work that they want them to do.
See, I was going to say earlier that, and you might be experiencing this already, or if not, it's right around the corner. People that are being put into positions because they've shifted employees now. They've let people go. They've furloughed people. And, I always wanted you to be in management because I think you're mature and you're good for management. And they're really not. They're being sort of shoved into a position. And who's going to turn down a promotion? Not too many people. So they get promoted into a position that they're uncomfortable with and they're not trained for, And so then you get what you're talking about. You get, the wrong fit. It's the square peg in a round hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story and then I'm going to stop hogging the time here. But I had a client just a few weeks ago. So person started out in an organization, an individual contributor, superstar, A+ player. They moved them into management. Now they were leading a team of multiple employees. It was a disaster. They didn't like being in leadership. They didn't like coaching and counseling and all the things that go along with that. We did their survey. I could see that they were under maximum stress. I went to the business owner and I said, look, this person's going to leave your company if you don't make some changes here because they were just in the wrong spot. I also had private conversations with the individual. Short story was we made all the necessary adjustments. Then the most amazing thing happened. I got a letter from this person's husband. So the letter basically said, thank you for giving me back my wife because she was on blood pressure medicine. She was on GI medicine. She was under just an immense amount of stress because she was doing the work, but she wasn't hardwired to really be a leader. And she wanted to be a great employee as an individual contributor. But as you said, Tom, how can you turn down a promotion?
Yeah.
We are sort of wired for promotions. So they gave her a nice title. They kept her salary the same. She's one of the happiest people now, and she will never leave that company.
Actually, you know what? That I have a question for you, Barbara. In your role, counseling people that are looking for even say, let's say a personal relationship, a romantic relationship, do you ever give them any type of test to try to figure out their personality and maybe what a good match would be, and maybe try to line up the test with the test on the other side?
So yes, I do have access through my business coach and I'm being trained in it for a code that gives you that basically uncovers your core values, your Enneagram, you know, which the Braxton, whatever that, I was going to say Braxton Hicks, which is labor, not a test. Whatever that one, Myers Briggs.
Myers Briggs.
Yeah, and
Braxton Hicks isn't like that the contractions that we even have that are preparing you. It kind of like something.
Yeah,
like
that was in my head from a conversation
You're
I had
funny,
with
Barbara. I
somebody
love
recently. I knew it was anyway.
I love you.
So yes, so I do those. But Phil, your test sounds very intriguing, and I will be contacting you to hear about it.
Sure. Yeah. If you want, I'll send you all a link to take the survey. You can take it. I can get reconnected with you in over 30 minutes, download for you the results. That's really the best way to not only learn about what I do, but also get a free assessment for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to take that.
I love to learn about myself even every day more, right? We're still in discovery mode for the rest of our lives. So
Sure.
You were talking about how you're hardwired, and about 10 years ago, I had a critical brain aneurysm surgery, and as we're going in, and it's an emergency, right? I said to the surgeon, if you're going to be in there, do you guys actually get to play your own tunes in the operating room like we see in the movie, right? Because I have a few requests, right? And then I said, hey, and listen, when you're in there, you have my permission, because I'm a creative. I was a fine artist. I was, an advertising guy. I'm a musician, and yet I own and run a business. I know accounting. So I'm left brain, right brain, really very much so. And I said to these guys, listen, while you're in there, you have my permission to sort of tinker and change the wiring. When you said, you're hardwired, I said, I don't know how wired I am. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love that. But I think it's important to know yourself, because, we sometimes a lot of us think we have to work on our weaknesses. I just think you have to find your strength and work on what that strength is, make it even stronger. Because we have a tendency to think, I'm going to work on those things I'm bad at. No, I want to continue to work on those things I'm good at to get better.
And even in the dating world, we are hardwired to act certain ways based on our experiences as children. And so I do help my clients work through those particular blocks or negative things that they tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, sure. Computer is a computer.
Well, listen, we have about 5 or 9 more minutes. So anybody have any questions for anybody else based on their introduction or their line of work?
From what I understood, Stephanie,
Yes.
I just want to make sure how to best help you. I always write when they took referrals, when I really, really take note word by word, because that's how you think about people. So from what I understand, you studied human resources, correct? And are you looking for a job in human resources? What is right? Is that what you're looking for? Do you have a particular preference on an industry so that I can think of people that I know in that industry?
I also have a background in culinary from Kendall College, so something maybe in a food company, possibly a hotel, but I'm not really limiting myself. I'm broadening.
Open. You're open.
I'm open, yes.
Yeah. And one of the nice things, by the way, and I'll just speak, and if I'm all wet, Stephanie, you can tell me, or anybody else, but one of the things about human resources, as opposed to maybe engineering or something else, is they can work in any organization that has a lot of people, because a lot of the equal employment, a lot of the regulation is all national, federal, and a lot of the problems or interactions that are people are the same, no matter what the industry or the line of work. So I've always thought that's something nice, a benefit that professional human resources people have, is they have a lot of leeway of working in different companies and different industries.
Yeah.
Definitely. I wouldn't mind. I'd like to handle somebody's benefits, handle benefits part of the company and potential recruitment at some point. Training and development would be something I'd like to explore eventually.
Training and
Starting
development is a growth area right now. Hotel and conference centers are not right now growing.
Right.
And there are specific benefits companies that are not necessarily HR, but their whole business is benefits.
Okay. So I'm pretty much open to any kind of position that'll get my foot in the door.
Just put in my thinking hat for you.
Okay.
Do you have a preference for being, and again, I'm even thinking like, hopefully once we get over this COVID thing, but do you have a preference for working physically in the office versus continuing to work remotely through the computer?
I would like to work in an office some days and maybe home a couple times. But I would like to be in an office. It would
And
be
you're in
nice
Chicago, right?
Yes, I'm in Chicago. It would be nice to be around people and see faces.
Yeah. So you know what? So state that too, that you're comfortable with working in a hybrid setup, you know, because you like being around people and the interaction, but you're adept to communicating and getting things done on screen.
Right.
Okay, very good. Well, any last questions or comments or anything else? Again, based on the introductions that have happened, or any other topic, one last topic that we want to discuss before we disband.
What are y'all doing for Thanksgiving? Are you going to be safe?
I haven't even figured out what's going to happen with Halloween. You're talking about Thanksgiving. I love how you work, Tom. Yes, I love that plan in mind of yours. I haven't even figured out how am I going to feel comfortable about this Halloween. I saw one of my neighbors did something very interesting. They actually put a skeleton rag and then they have a hill, and then they put a tube. It's probably about 10 feet long, and they painted the whole thing, and so he's a pirate looking through it, I guess, but I guess that's to shoot the candy down. I'm like, that's brilliant.
That's what people were collecting the hard tubes from carpeting, you know, and cutting them and just, stuff shoot down, 10, 20 feet long to the trick or treat.
I love that idea. I was thinking if I can figure that out, at home and have my kid like shoot candy down or something, because I don't want him knocking on doors. I don't know. I feel a little weird this year.
Yeah. Listen, get that little robot from Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson. Here's a candy for you.
But what do you do with the kids? I have kids.
All right.
We could get one of those power, the super soakers, and shoot.
I'm calling you. I'm having a one-on-one with you for Halloween ideas. I love that.
Here's what we're gonna do, because I think that's a great question, Tom. Is our children are all grown, so they've got their significant others or husbands, wives. We have 3 children. Normally we would all come to Arizona. They're in Seattle, they're in Florida, they're spaced out. So what we've decided is we're going to stay in our separate homes. We're going to FaceTime through the Apple gadgets, and we're all going to put a lazy Susan in the middle of the table so we can move it around. That way, whoever's talking, we can just quickly shift. Because we figured, how are you going to eat if you're trying to hold this iPad? And that's how we're going to do it. We're not getting on planes. We're not getting in hotels. We're not getting in rental cars. We're all going to be safe at home.
So let me give you an idea for that.
Yeah.
A solution where you don't have to see one person at a time. So I did it for my kid's first birthday. So if you actually, you put the computer further out enough, you won't be able to hear everybody, but you will be able to see everybody.
Oh,
so
good.
Then we bought I don't remember if it was 20 feet microphone, little one. And we actually put the microphone in the middle of the cake table so they could see us all. And then at home, everybody did the same thing. And as a matter of fact, if you go to on Amazon and you buy these little cameras that they sell, like they have a wider range than your computer and much better resolution. So it's really simple. You just connect the computer. Like imagine you were sitting like back there with all the table. The only problem is the audio. So just bring the microphone into the table, and instead of seated around the table, sit on the U. Like, you know how they do the reality shows? They never have people sitting here so you can see everybody.
Sure.
So sit on you on this side of the table. So they're sitting on the table, you're sitting on the table, and we're all talking, you know? So that way you don't have to see one person at a time and have the screen move every single time and be dizzy by the middle of it.
Yeah, good
You know,
idea.
and you can see everybody. That's how we did my son's first birthday. We actually did it that way. It worked out okay because you can only hear one person at a time talking. And when everybody started having side conversations, that's when it went a little sideways. But at least we were together.
Yeah.
Terrific. Yeah.
Good idea.
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
guys. Well, listen, it is almost 2:50. It's 2:49, and I hate to break up the party because everybody's having such a good time. And send me some pictures from Halloween, and we'll post them as part of the email blast that I do. But anyway, we're doing this again in 2 weeks, by the way. So if you really wanted to get some more stuff out there, then please hold it for 2 weeks, and we'll do it in 2 weeks again. And thank you all for coming. I will email a copy of the video. If you missed anything, you can replay it. I will email the chat log, and I will email a link for this meeting in 2 weeks. And thank you all for joining me. And happy and safe Halloween. And if you dress up, more important than anything, if you dress up, please send me a picture of that. I will put it with my email blast.
That's not happening. I love
right.
you guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
So
Bye.
I need your ideas.
Bye.
Bye.